Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Executive Encore, the video podcast dedicated to helping you create a life that you love and the life that you dreamt of while you were building your successful career. My name is Patricia Muir. I believe that women possess the inherent power to discover joy, cultivate self-trust, and achieve fulfillment throughout their Executive Encore journey. Today, we're discussing a topic that may seem simple, but it's actually profoundly complex, and that's your birthday. How do you feel when your special day approaches? Is it with joy and excitement, or a little bit of apprehension and dread? Our guest today will help us reclaim our birthdays as powerful moments of self-celebration and growth. I'm excited to introduce you to Tamara Heruritz Fleming. Tamara is an award-winning author, a birthday aficionado, and the brilliant author behind the book, How to Have a Happy Birthday. Growing up, Tamara had happy, sad, and terrible birthdays until she realized that having a fulfilling birthday was entirely up to her. Now she inspires others like you and me to use our birthdays as a catalyst for self-love and joy. Her story is a powerful reminder that celebrating ourselves is not luxury. It's essential for our well-being and our success. Tamara, welcome to Executive Encore. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm delighted to be here.
So we'll jump right into it because your story is so inspiring. I've read your book, and let's start with the big idea behind your book. Many of us see our birthdays as just another day, but you see them as something much, much more. Talk to us about the transformational power of our birthdays and how we can shift our mindset to see them as a tool for personal growth.
Well, birthdays, if you think about it, the birthday acknowledges the day we were born. And the day we were born is the most important day of our life. I mean, next to death, our birthday is the most important day, right? It's the most spiritual day. It's the day we began this existence. I can think of nothing more personally sacred or important to acknowledge than our birthdays. And they're very personal holidays. Nobody should care more about your birthday than you. It's your own personal new year. And as such, it gives all of us a wonderful opportunity to press the pause button on the normal activity of our life, to put ourselves in the center of our life just one day a year. Ask ourselves, what would delight us? What can we do to raise our joy? And then to dive into that with a full heart. It is transformational when we celebrate our birthdays with intention. It is nurturing. It is healing. It can be a lot of fun. And it can also be very meaningful so that we look at the year ahead and ask ourselves, am I living the life I want to be living? Am I fulfilling my potential? Is there anything I want to change in the coming year to be more in alignment with the life I want to live? And whatever those answers are, those are for you. That's for you to look at and to take action on in the coming year if you so choose. But birthdays are wonderful, they're powerful, and they're worth celebrating.
And it is a timestamp, right? Like there's other timestamps in the year that we share with other people, but this is our day. And therefore, for us to collect our thoughts, do some reflection, and like you were saying, is this how I want to continue living? Or is there something that I want to do in this year? Like actually, it's a great timestamp for setting another goal, right? Or setting some goals for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's our birthday.
That's right. It's your personal new year. And I really like looking at the year ahead and only the year ahead. This is not a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. It's just what adjustments can I make in the coming year? And I don't even want to look at it like, on January 1st, we all have New Year's resolutions, like I'm going to go to the gym, and then that fizzles out really fast. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the deeper stuff. I'm talking about the stuff that will bring more fulfillment to your life. I heard a recent podcast of yours about a woman around time and time management. And her advice was to focus on what brings you joy, to help stretch time and make your time more meaningful during the life that you have. I love that. And your birthday, I want your birthday to be that for you as well. How can I use my time in the coming year to manifest the life and my potential and the joy that I know I'm capable of, but I haven't quite committed to in the same way as I would like to. So I think a birthday can really be a good launching pad for that every year.
And that's such a beautiful way to look at it as well, because it turns a day from one that could be passive expectation to one that's active appreciation. So you're appreciating your life, and like you say, the more deeper aspects of life rather than the tasks from month to month or the goals from year to year. So I really love that. It really does put the power back in your hands. Now, I know many women listening might be thinking, that sounds great, but birthdays are always a letdown. I think we've all experienced some kind of letdown, probably because we've got expectations otherwise. You call this the birthday joy sabotage. It's something that many of us do experience, whether it's due to external pressure, perhaps, or our own internal critic. Tamar, how do you identify the blocks that are stealing our joy? And what would you say are the first steps to overcoming them?
A lot of us have, a lot of us, I believe there's a spectrum. We're either birthday positive or birthday avoidant or somewhere in between. And we all exist somewhere on that spectrum. And for those of us that feel anxious when our birthday approaches, when we feel the birthday blues, when we don't want to put ourselves in the center of our day and don't feel like we deserve it, there are a lot of reasons for that. I think a lot of our birthday experiences, positive and negative, get shaped in childhood. You mentioned earlier that expectations that go unfulfilled can really make us feel badly on our birthdays. We wake up, it's our birthday, we're special, and people forget, or they don't treat us special. Or if we're kids, we get in trouble, or we get yelled at, or they forget. There's all sorts of stories that happen to us growing up that can make us feel very shut down to having any further hope about a happy birthday, because we didn't experience that. And as children in particular, we're very sensitive. We're like sea anemones that close up, right? When our sensitivity and our heart is wide open, and then something happens to shut us down, and we don't want to deal with that pain anymore. So expectations are a cause of the birthday blues. We expect other people to shower us with love and excitement and attention. And yet many of them don't even know it's our birthday because we didn't tell them, but we were testing them to see if they remembered, and they didn't. And so we were validated in see, my birthday doesn't matter. So birthday sabotage is a subconscious thing. It's not something we actively do, but there are many reasons why we don't like our birthday. I talked about some, but also as women, a lot of us as we hit middle age don't like getting older. We don't want to acknowledge that there's an extra candle on the cake. Society puts a lot of pressure on women, and now men as well, about, for us to be valid and valuable and visible, we need to be youthful. And I don't buy that. I'm 59 and a half. I'm turning 60 in January. I'm looking forward to it. I understand it's a big number. I understand I'm entering the decade of my senior years. There's less time ahead of me, but there's nothing to be ashamed of as I age. And I refuse to buy that social narrative. And so for any of your listeners that have bought into that, I encourage you to challenge it and not replicate it, consciously or not, by thinking that because you're older, you're suddenly less valuable, visible, powerful, and necessary in society. Our elders are extremely necessary. And it's up to us, though, to empower ourselves as we age with the wisdom and life experience that we can then share with others. So one of the ways that we sabotage our birthday is we ignore it. We don't tell people about it, and we don't plan for it. So let's say you think you love your birthdays, kind of, but then you wake up and you don't have plans. How can you really have a happy birthday if you wanted to spend it with your friends and they're suddenly not available for you? Or if you wanted to get a massage and it's all booked? Or if you wanted to go to a restaurant and there's no reservations? You need to plan for your birthday as if it's a major holiday, right? You wouldn't wake up on Thanksgiving and say, okay, what's for dinner and who's coming? You plan for it. It's the same with your birthdays. So those are some ways that we can get in our own way. Another thing we do subconsciously to sabotage our birthday joy is as the days approach, we start to feel some birthday anxiety kick in, some birthday blues. Don't know what's going on here. We're ready to have a happy birthday, we think. And then we pick a fight with someone close to us. Yeah, we do that. It's amazing. We get, our thin is extra, our skin is extra thin. And let's say our partner says something to us that we don't like. They say that anyway every other day of the year, but the day before your birthday, you might be like, wait, I'm not letting that go. I need to talk about this. I need to dive into this. When really, as your birthday is approaching, let that stuff go. Save it for later. Don't, let your energy rise and be uplifted as your birthday approaches. Don't bring it down with a fight that you're suddenly invested in, right? There's all sorts of subtle ways that we get in our own way of our birthday joy. And I'm here to say we can change that. It just takes some awareness to say, hey, my birthday's coming. It's sacred. Let's, this past year, my birthday's in January, and my husband wanted to start talking about taxes the day before my birthday. Not a big deal. It's not a fraught issue, but it was boring. And I said, hey, I'm ready to put together my birthday altar the day before my birthday. Let's shelve that conversation for a few days. But I had to be aware of that versus suddenly be talking about taxes, right? The day before my birthday. Yeah.
So I love that. It's about being intentional about you
Yes.
defining what your happy birthday means to you. And it might be very different as we add another year, like each year is a little different. Like when we were little, we would have expectations that our parents or someone in our life would throw us a party. I guess when we're in our teens, our friends throw us parties and things like that. So this is the time, I think, is to give ourselves permission to celebrate on our own terms, right? And that's incredibly empowering. Um, I recall the joy of my birthdays when I planned what I call Patricia's Day Out. And these are my birthday events. And I would travel on public transit to Toronto, like I live outside of Toronto, to visit the big department stores that I used to visit with my friends as a teenager. So I didn't need to buy anything, but I can tell you just the experience of coming down the escalator sometimes into the perfume department would bring back such wonderful memories for me. So that's my way of celebrating. So it won't be any surprise to my audience to know that I also use my birthday to visit the art gallery or the museum where I can take in the history without being rushed by someone else. So I do it entirely on my own. And those celebrations are on my terms, and they were indeed so empowering and inspiring.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you
yeah,
for sharing. That's a wonderful example of how you've created a happy birthday for yourself, doing
yeah,
things that bring you joy on your own time frame. You're not worried about what other people need or think. That's wonderful. And
mhm,
the point here is you figured out what worked for you. And
mhm,
we all have a birthday recipe for ourselves,
mhm,
and it can
mhm.
change from year to year in terms of what we want to do. But what I really invite people to do is to start planning 4 to 6 weeks before your birthday and ask yourself, what do I want to do? What would bring me delight? Take the day off work, take the day off
Mhm,
your normal responsibilities, make it a major holiday, which it is, and then
mhm.
plan for it so that you can do what you want. It's not about people pleasing and thinking about what other people want for you, it's what you want for you. And some
Yeah,
of us don't even know which is what we want to do for ourselves, which is why birthdays are a wonderful opportunity for us to ask ourselves, wait, what do I want to do for myself? Just
yeah,
one day a year. Start there.
yeah. That's so important. That is an experience on its own for you to ask, like, what do I want? Because each year it can change, right?
Yeah,
You
it
might want
does.
a big party, so yeah, you may want to start planning a little sooner and get people engaged to help you. At this time, I also want to share with our audience one of the chapters in your book that really resonated with me, and that is the importance of celebrating the birthday of a loved one who's no longer with us. Um, I was particularly moved by that chapter about intentionally celebrating my mother's birthday this year, okay? Connecting with her by a simple ritual that honored her life, because of course it's a life to be, all our lives are to be honored. And it was in such a profound way. Interestingly, we celebrate the birthdays of historical figures with national holidays. So I wanted to celebrate my mom's birthday in the same way. Now, it was a private way that I did it, but you talk about having some nice rituals for celebrating birthdays. And I found that chapter so empowering for me. And not just to appreciate her life, but appreciate the life she gave me, right?
Yeah.
So why not honor who those who are special to us and give them a celebration as well? So
Yeah,
mhm,
and thank you for bringing that up. I actually get very emotional when I think about celebrating, my parents. They are no longer alive, but and it's their birthday, I feel their spirit so strongly. And I
yeah,
feel like it's a gift because I know their spirit's with me whenever I want to conjure their spirit, but on their birthday and on my birthday, I feel them both very strongly. And it is such a
yeah,
delight and such a gift. And the way I feel their spirit is I feel the joy. I feel the joy of their spirit present on their birthdays and on mine.
yes,
And with a little more attention and focus, we can magnify that energy. We can tune into it and it's
yes.
there for us. And so birthdays can be a spiritual portal in that way. Thank you for bringing
Mhm.
that up.
Hmm. So let's touch on that subject that's closely tied to birthdays. You've brought it up already, especially for women as we age.
Yeah.
As you said, society often sends us negative messages about getting older, and so therefore we will not acknowledge our birthdays sometimes, or feel very uncomfortable when someone else acknowledges our birthday. But in your work, you talk about embracing aging as a privilege. Um, how can we reframe our perspective and learn to celebrate each new year with the gratitude that you've spoken about and the excitement that comes along with that rather than fear?
Thank you for this question also. So, as you just said, aging is a privilege. We all know people that didn't make it to our age. And if
Hmm.
they did, would we judge them, for having gray hair and wrinkles and sagging skin? No, we would be delighted that they were still here with us in their life, right? And
Hmm.
so let's just turn that around and think about that for a moment. And so if we wouldn't judge them, why are we judging ourselves?
Yeah.
Also, one of the ways that I approach my own aging, because I am aging, my hair is changing, my skin is changing, my body's changing. The issue that I'm finding for myself is that I'm not recognizing the person who's showing up in the mirror because she's showing up rather quickly now. I recognize myself from my younger years because I look pretty much the same. But as I'm aging and as things about me change quicker, I have to get used to this new reflection that shows up every morning, right?
New person. Yeah.
A new person. And so I don't recognize her. Like, who are you? Oh, you're the older version of me. Well, I have some choices. I can confront her, I can criticize her, I can judge her, I can not want to look at her, or I can say, welcome, who are you? I can
Yeah.
I can turn up the curiosity. I have curiosity about what I'm going to look like as an 80-year-old woman if I make it that far. There's no guarantee any of us are going to make it that far. But will I have a full white head of hair? Will I have a full face of wrinkles like Georgia O'Keeffe? I'm really interested in terms of what I'm going to turn into and look like. So I think curiosity and
Mm.
acceptance. And my definition of self is not limited to how I look, right? I don't, if you think about it, we don't really look at ourselves a whole bunch. I mean, unless you're staring at yourself in the mirror 24 hours a day, it's not like that. I feel myself from the inside. My energy from the inside informs how I feel about myself far more than the reflection in the mirror. So I just had to turn that thinking around so that I wasn't buying into this social narrative that you have to look young, right? And don't look old if you're going to maintain your power and your worth. A long time ago, I realized nobody gets to define my worth. Nobody but me. Nobody. And if you
Mhm.
have thoughts about me as I age, those are your thoughts. They have nothing to do with me. Your thoughts about me as I age are none of my business, right? It's
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
dependent on me and how I view myself, how I feel about myself, and how I walk through the world with my curiosity and my flexibility about my self-image. So
Mhm.
that's what I do to maintain a healthy perspective to aging. And the problem with aging, and I will say this, age changes us. And I will call this a problem because I'm experiencing it. Our body changes and suddenly aches and pains show up. Suddenly my bones are weak, right? I mean, there's real stuff about aging that I'm not going to gloss over or celebrate. I actually don't like that part about aging, but it's just part of the journey.
Yeah.
I was born in 1966. I am driving a 1966 vehicle until the day I die, right? So
Yeah.
it's safe to imagine a 1966 vehicle in this year would have some knocks and dings going on. But
Mhm.
it's up to me to care for my vehicle and take care of my health to the best that I can so I can enjoy the rest of the years that I have. So
Mhm.
those are the kind of thoughts that I think about when it comes to aging. But I will say this, as women, we either perpetuate the social narrative or we don't. Anytime we self-deprecate about our age, put ourselves down for being older, we are unwittingly promoting the narrative that aging is bad. And it's up to us to stop that. And if you can't celebrate the fact that you're getting older, that's fine, but stop making jokes about it and stop putting yourself down for it or anyone else for
I
that matter.
I totally agree with that. It's internalizing all the negativity that comes from messages from society, and it's internalizing ageism. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I agree with that. I often, even talking about aches and pains, I encourage some of my friends about that should not be the primary conversation that we have. Or,
It
it
is
should,
interesting though. I find that as I get older, I'm actually interested in your aches and pains, which
are
is
you?
funny. Yeah, as a kid, I'm like, oh, enough, and I'd hear the older people talk about it. But now I'm like, oh, what medicines are you taking? I
Yeah,
actually am interested.
I know. No, I don't want to go there. I can just imagine people sitting there. Oh, you've got a pink one and a blue one. Can I try the blue one? No. Or what body function is not working? The only
Well,
time I want to have aches and pains is when I've really worked out, like going on a bike or something like that. And then the
nice.
next day, someone will ask me, and I say, "Yeah, I've got that ache, but I know where I got it from." So I'm happy
Yeah,
with that. It
you're
means
happy with
I'm
it.
alive, right? I'm not creaking, I'm alive. So
That's right.
that's each year, it's another chapter. And
Yeah.
I love what you said about our energy is from within, like inside. So if we focus on that more so about that's how we feel. Like I remember again my dad saying to me about age, uh, your body is this age, but your mind is still 18 years old. You're the way you think about yourself is still 18 years old. And that's why some of these things can be disappointing for us if we're not able to move like we're 18. But yeah, we stay young at heart and young in our brain. And how we think about ourselves, it comes from within, not from outside.
Yeah, and can I say something to that? I actually don't feel like I'm 18, and I thank God I don't. I don't want it. You get inside my 18-year-old brain, very different than my 59 and a half-year-old
Yeah,
brain. So
yeah,
I just want to acknowledge again that even when we say something like that, we're unwittingly implying that having that younger mindset is the ideal mindset, right? When
yes,
actually, for me, the wisdom that I have, the perceptions that I have, the self-confidence that I have at 59 and a half, so much nicer and more
yeah,
comfortable and more evolved than when I was 18 or 39.
yeah,
So, young at heart, to me, when I hear that, it means, do you still have vitality for living, whatever age you are? Do you still have joy and curiosity about the world? Or have you just given up and phoned it in and just buried yourself and lost yourself? That can happen
yeah.
at any age, right? We know people in their 30s that were like that. So to me, that term, I'm old at heart, right? And this is what it looks like as a 59 and a half-year-old woman. This is what this energy and this vitality looks like. It's up to me to generate my own energy and my own curiosity
Mhm.
to make my life interesting. That's completely for me. And so those are the decisions that I make as I age. And I also want to say that, when I hear the term, I'm starting to feel invisible, and yes, that happens. I'm actually very invisible to the 20s and 20 somethings and 30 somethings because I'm no longer their age group. I am not invisible to my peer group. They are
Mhm.
visible to me and I'm visible to them. So I want to suggest to everybody out there that your peer group is who you are aging with, and you are very alert and visible to each other. And I like that. I like aging with my peer group.
I like that. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good way to look at it. We don't need to be visible to all the
No.
generations the way we have been in the past. We
Right.
we can be visible with that within our own generation,
Yeah.
and also reflect that back to them, make them visible in our lives as well, rather than isolate them or isolate ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been quite a transformation in conversation. You've given us an optimistic approach, that's for sure, to celebrating birthdays. And as I mentioned before, it's like a timestamp for reflection and the beginning of a new chapter. I'd like to recap some of the key takeaways from today. And one is that our birthdays can be a powerful tool for transformation. It can give us the little bit of a kick up our heels a little bit, right? We can overcome joy sabotage by setting our own rules and expectations for the celebration. And we can embrace aging as an absolute privilege that it is. So, Tamar, thank you very much for sharing your wisdom. And going back to what you were saying about youthful heart, youthful brain, that wisdom is becomes part of us as well. So, actually, I don't know what you'd say. We have um, an elevated brain or wisdom, whatever. So it elevates our wisdom in life. And such wonderful energy with us today. Thank you. Tamar, could you share with the audience a moment of profound wisdom for yourself when you recognized that you were ready to remaster your life and work intentionally?
Yeah. I was 52 years old, and
Mhm.
I was spent the last 2 weeks of my best friend's life with him. He was my cousin. He was 68. He died of pancreatic cancer. He died way too soon, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And his death was an incredible gift to be a part of, but also not just that I got to be present with him at such a powerful transformative moment of his life, But that what it gave for me after he died is I realized, oh, I get this. Life is finite. We die. And it made me take stock of the life I was living at that time. I had the
Mhm.
perfect job in the perfect apartment in the perfect city, and yet it all felt stagnant to me. And that was the moment where I decided to take a giant leap off a cliff into the future that I didn't know what it would be, but I knew I needed to leave what I had and jump into something new. But because he had just died, I knew that I wasn't going to fall off the cliff, that I was going to soar. I could feel that so strongly because I understood I could. That was the gift he gave me through
Wow.
witnessing his death, was realizing like, oh, death happens. It's real. And when you walk someone to the end of their life and you let them go, it's transformative. And for me, I took that as a magic power that then gave me the courage to change my life in a massive way. It all worked, I'm happy to say.
Mhm.
And since that point, my book was written.
Mhm.
And here I am in this new chapter of my life because I realized that though I had a great life, it wasn't great for me anymore because it felt
Mhm.
stagnant and I wasn't growing anymore. So
Mhm.
that's what I can point to. That
Mm.
was seven and a
Good.
half, 8 years
Good.
ago. Yeah.
That's great. So this is a good time for you to share with our listeners how they can connect with you if they are ready to transform their birthday and enjoy their birthdays on their terms and embrace the aging and the transitions. Where can they connect with you?
So you can find me at howtohaveahappybirthday.com. And if you go to
Mm.
that website, you can find out, my book's available on Amazon. I also have a workbook. My book's available actually wherever books are sold. I have an audio book. I have an ebook, hardback, paperback. I'm also a birthday coach. So if anybody wants help about a month before their birthday, sort of diving into what some of their birthday issues are and what birthday planning they might want help with, let's work together. And then a week after your birthday, let's get back on the phone and talk about what worked, what didn't, so that you're ready for the next year. But howtohaveahappybirthday.com is where you can find me and get in touch with me on my social media and all of that.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to buy the book and the workbook as a birthday present, it makes a great birthday present. But give it 4 to 6 weeks before somebody's birthday so they
Okay.
have time to read it and then put it to work for their upcoming birthday. That's the best time
Mhm.
to gift it if you're going
Mhm.
to do that.
Mhm. And for those listeners who are or watching on YouTube, you'll see in the ticker that there's information on how to connect with Tamar, and it will be in the show notes as well for the podcast and the video. But I just wanted Tamar to give her the opportunity to speak about her book, the fact that there's a workbook, and that great advice. Like if you're giving it as a gift, don't give it to them on their birthday. Give it to them 6 weeks before.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay. So, you've given us some great wisdom and from your experience, a new way of looking at our birthdays. So I'd ask our listeners that if this resonated with you, please subscribe to Executive Encore on wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. I'd be grateful if you could leave a review as it helps for other women to find our community. For more resources and to join the conversation, visit my website at patriciamuir.com and follow me on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Contact me by email for more information about joining the Executive Encore Network for Women. This is a membership and a community of women who are proving every day that their next chapters are yet to be written. And please add your comments to YouTube. Tamara and I will be very happy to respond to any questions you have and get into the conversation with you. Okay. So subscribe to the Sunday Encore newsletter today. I'll tell you the reason why. You'll see the code up in the corner there where the Q code where you can sign up. The reason why it's important is this is where you'll read more and get to know more about Tamar's work, because Tamar will be featured in this week's weekly blog and the published newsletter this Sunday, September 28th. So if you're not on the newsletter, you won't hear about the special offer that Tamar is offering to subscribers and members. You'll also, when you subscribe, you'll see a page where other podcast guests have provided their offers as well. So I'd encourage you to do that. All links will be in the show notes as usual. Remember, this is where your Executive Encore begins. This is where you start to live, work, and lead differently with a healthy mindset and self-trust. And this week, I'm adding this one. I encourage you to celebrate your birthdays as an act of self-care and self-appreciation. Don't sabotage the joy of that special day that is all yours. So until next time, take care of yourself, do what's best for you, and don't jeopardize what you've built for yourself. Bye-bye.